As Todd said, I'm Greg Becker. I'm going to give the Spack project update. So Spack is a package manager for high-performance computing. Automates the build and installation of scientific software. And packages are parameterized so that the main difference, right, what makes it a package manager for HPC instead of just a general package manager? And the difference is the importance of tweaking and tuning configuration to get the best performance out of the system. So the packages are parameterized, and we have this syntax, which I've got a little example of, or a few examples of here, that allows you to specify in as much or as little detail as you could possibly want everything about the configuration that you want to install. And it's a telescoping syntax, so anything you can specify about the package, you can specify about any of the dependencies, all the way down through everything you're building. In addition to being a CLI tool that helps you install things, Spack also generates module files, allows environments, can do container generation, and a lot of other kind of DevOps workflows. Spack has three primary components. The first is the specs. I mentioned that very briefly. Specs are directed acyclic graphs of dependency information. And we talk about both abstract and concrete specs. An abstract spec could either be in memory or from the command line, is just the information you've said about what you want to build. And then a concrete spec is the full graph with all of the possible information filled in, so all the defaults that you didn't specify. And the second major piece of Spack, the concretizer, is the algorithm that takes an abstract spec and gives you the concrete spec. And then the third primary component of Spack is the package recipes. And the package recipes provide both the shape of what a valid concrete spec could be, and also then the templated build instructions. So given a concrete spec, how do I install this? So that's very quick Spack in a nutshell so you can understand updates about the project. So Spack is 12 years old now. We first started doing these graphs of contributions in 2016. And one of the fun things to see in here is that over time, the percentage of this bar that is contributions from Livermore, where Spack originated, has gone down quite substantially. And the most recent version that we've grabbed of this, which is from late last year, you can see that's looking at a little less than 10%, maybe 8% from Livermore, and a huge variety of institutions represented. That 2016 graph I showed is this portion right here. Our development velocity remains quite fast. And if you're looking at this and saying, Greg, you cheated, that's the month leading up to your last major release. It's not that different if you look at a random month. So this is, we did not cut a release today. But several hundred pull requests merged a month generally. As part of getting ready to join HPSF, one of the things that we did was we got more formal about our governance and set up our technical steering committee. So this group, and quite a few of us I think are here today, this group is the deciding body for technical decisions in Spack. We are trying to still primarily use the consensus model that we used before. But if we can't come to consensus on something, we will have a vote of the technical steering committee. And Luke Peralins doesn't like photos. I don't think that he's actually in the mascot costume there, but I can't say for sure. Besides just being more formal about our governance, joining HPSF has improved Spack in other ways. With the technical steering committee, it has led to a better diversity of viewpoints in technical decisions. In particular, there's a lot of representation of the Spack developers on the steering committee, but also some representation of power users who often weren't in the room for technical decisions before. And having that viewpoint has helped us better identify which features are top priorities for the next release and things of that sort. It's also led to other institutions being more comfortable funding people to work on Spack. And the thing that we were most excited about going into joining HPSF is, it's maybe a little tough to read from the back, this question from the Spack user survey that Todd will give a lot more details about at the Spack user meeting. Has Spack's transition into Linux Foundation / HPSF given you more confidence in the project? And the blue 49.8% is yes, 11% no, and 39.2% not sure. In addition to all of that, we're very involved in the CI working group. The Spack CI system is a major effort of ours, and so it's good to be collaborating more with the rest of the community. Spack version 0.23.0 was released last November. I'm not going to talk in any detail at all about the features that were in it, but you can read about them if you're interested. And the most recent release is version 0.23.1, released in February. The road to a Spack 1.0 release has been a long one. We identified at some point, here are the features that we need to be able to do this. We wanted a better concretizer. We've done that. Better reuse of existing installations. And a lot of this was building towards modeling the compilers properly as dependencies. The picture here is Todd at FOSDEM in 2018 explaining this, next feature that we were going to work on in Spack. We did not think that that was going to be the major focus of our next 6 years of development. But that's how it's turned out. And this is the biggest change to Spack that we have made, either since the new concretizer or maybe period. And version 1.0 will be released at ISC later this year. So the major piece of work here was modeling compilers as dependencies, which required a lot more things than we initially realized in terms of modeling compiler runtimes and things like that, and we get to make all of these pretty pictures of it. And if you're interested in the technical details of that, come by at the poster reception later, and I have a poster on the technical work of moving to Spack 1.0. In terms of where we are in the release process, we've merged the compilers as dependencies work into develop. That's in. We've knocked off some of the issues on it, but please, if you find more, let us know. This month, we're working on splitting the package repository out from the core tool and some usability semantic sugar features on top of compilers as dependencies. And then in June at ISC, we will be releasing Spack 1.0 at our BOF, and we will be giving a tutorial using the new release. So that's all I've got, and I can take some questions.
All right, we can take some questions. Any questions for Greg? Come on, y'all, you gotta have some questions. No questions. Okay, Mike has questions. Windows, Bill, do you want to comment on the status on Windows?
John.
John, where's John? Where?
Back there.
Back there, okay. Yeah, John can comment on the status on Windows. It's good.
I mean, do you have anything you want to know specifically about static Windows? I mean, Spack is, yeah. Not quite. It's closer, but not quite. No, there is not a short answer of what's missing. It's honestly, all of the large features are at parity. It's kind of odds and ends at this point. But the core functionality is stable and at parity.
I'd say the packages are probably not going to work out of the box on Windows just yet. So but we're getting there. Any other questions? So I think there's one more here. No? Over there. Right. Reed.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding of Spack is that it's designed to be used in a shared environment where you have all kinds of users with their own different requirements. What if you don't have to share? So like what I would love is to be able to do Spack this and that inside my container, but then never have to activate the environment. Just have it all put in the default locations and stuff like that. Is that feasible? And if so, can you talk about it?
Yeah, you can do that because environments have configurable capabilities for the file system view, which is basically a symlink tree out to where everything in the environment goes, and you can put that wherever you want. So when we do containerization, Spack containerized commands, we put that in /opt. And you've got everything from the environment for this container all goes into /opt, and you could put that anywhere you liked.
I'd say even if you don't have to share, I'll just answer this as I'm walking over here to Julian. The developer use case is you really want to switch versions out rapidly and switch between different configurations. So there's still multi-configs there.
You mentioned an impressive number of contributions and diversity in these contributions. I wonder how much of that is the core of Spack and how much are the recipes?
I should have been clearer when I was on that slide. This chart that I showed here is the contribution to the package files. For Spack core, I think it's still something like 60% of the lines of code are from Livermore. Spack core, last I checked, was around 90,000 lines of code, and the package files between 250,000 and 300,000.
Okay.
So I think you had, on one of your slides, you actually had for the 1.0, you had a bit of a breakdown of what went into Spack core and what was in packages. The previous slide, back, there you go. Well, there you go. That bottom yep. line. It's my understanding that there's a change coming where you're going to pull these things out, you're going to separate them out.
Yep.
So, can you speak to that because I don't remember you explicitly calling it out when you did this slide.
Yeah, so the big thing left for the 1.0 release is that we're splitting out the repo. This has been something that we've wanted to do for a long time because users often find that they want an update to the Spack core, but they don't want to change how their packages are being resolved, or they want a bug fix from a package, but they don't want an update to the core tool because they're worried about confounding bugs or things like that. And so that's why we're separating them out. That is the stable package API is then a core requirement for that we need to be able to define, okay, these packages work with this version of Spack. I mentioned that we've done a user survey, and we see that generally about 2/3 of our users have their own packages in addition to the built-in. So we need to make it easy for people to migrate those whenever we're updating the API.
Okay, we have time for one last question, and then we got to move on to Samir. Samir, you ready? Yeah, okay. I'm going to try not to step in there.
just have a quick question about the contributions. I think at some point you're going to enforce sign-off for the commits. Do you know when that's going to happen?
We have not decided when we are going to flip that bit. No.
We'll do it once we get SpackBot to be able to sign off, so that you can say SpackBot sign off on a PR, and we haven't gotten to that work yet because of the other things. That's the main thing.